This is The After Party, live with Kim McAllister. Pick a couch, grab a drink, and settle into the conversation.
Little ukulele music on a Monday. Hope everyone's doing well. It is the After Party Live on a Hide in Your Cave Monday. And I had some really great emails over the weekend that I wanted to share. One of them was a message that came in from Yvonne B., who sent me some really cool pictures of gingerbread. She said, "Aloha, Kim. Here's a few of my homemade gingerbread cookies, plus pictures from this year and other years. My mom started this tradition, and then when she went back to college, I didn't want to let it drop, so I picked it up. She said, I've been doing this ever since, probably 30 years or more, bringing to family and friends and gatherings. Here's a picture from her Betty Crocker cookbook of the recipe, too." And she sends me a bunch of amazing pictures of her gingerbread cookies over the years. So I thought, well, let's take a look at them, because if you're not in the holiday spirit, this might get you in the holiday spirit. So here is Yvonne's cookie pictures that she shares. Look at those cute gingerbread men and women. Some have long hair. Some are in different shapes. I like the candy cane shape. Here's another shot. Looks good. Suddenly, I'm all about gingerbread cookies. Ooh, that was a good year. Look at those. Very cute. There's the recipe. Boy, that recipe is well used and well loved, is it not? Thank you, Yvonne, for the great message. I really appreciate it. Very cool. Oh, there's all the rest of my messages you can see. Wait, stop. But if that wasn't enough to get you in the holiday spirit, boy, do I have more. Wes sent me a great message and posted it on the Mark Thompson Show Facebook discussion page, which he also created. And this one is his mom. His mom had a stroke, and quite like my mom's, is okay, but seems to have maybe some memory issues. And she lives at the end of a really long driveway in a very chilly area of upstate New York. And up comes 40 carolers recently to sing, and apparently just really brightened all the spirits. Here's the video.
Sleigh bells ring, ding, ding, ding.
Look at how much fun she's having.
Sleigh ride together with you. Outside the snow is falling, and I'm calling you. Yoo-hoo! Come on, it's lovely weather for a sleigh ride together with you. Giddy up, giddy up, let's go. Let's look at the show. We're riding in a wonderland of snow. Giddy up, it's grand. Just hold your hand. We're riding along with the song of the wintry fairyland. Our feet are nice and rosy and comfy, cozy are we. We're snuggled up together like the birds of a feather would be.
Anyway, there you go. And it's lovely, that to see someone have so much joy from the kindness of others. So I think right after this video was taken, Wes's sister joined the carolers as well. So thank you for sharing. Really, really appreciate it. Gives me a little holiday joy as well. And I would love to see your pictures too. You can send them to me at kim@theafterparty.live. Here it is, kim@theafterparty.live. If you want to message me any holiday pictures, I'll show some more tomorrow. One of the other things I saw, I don't know if I'm supposed to show this, but I think I might not be able to help myself. Oh, it's gone. I saw Delette posted a picture of her really cute dog dressed in a Christmas sweater on that website as well. It's a good excuse to go to the Mark Thompson Show fan discussion page on Facebook and check it out. Okay, let's jump into this car. I'll jump right into this car. Absolutely. This is supposed to be a Lamborghini supercar. It's a hybrid. And for a hybrid, man, does it go wickedly fast. This thing is crazy. It's their new hybrid supercar. It has a 3-level drift mode, 3 axial flux motors. It apparently, the motor does 10,000 revolutions per minute, they say, at the red line. This thing is so, so, so fast. For a hybrid as well, that's just crazy. It is the newest, called the Temerario. Lamborghini calls it an HPEV, a high performance electric vehicle. Oh no, it's not just an EV. The big performance emphasis there. They didn't think, the skeptics, that Lamborghini could outdo the hybrid engines of old, but boy, have they ever. The new engine replaces their iconic Huracan. They say it boasts about 907 horsepower. It's got a twin turbo 4-liter V8 boosted by 3 electric motors. I mean, it's crazy. They said that the Huracan tapped out at 631 horsepower. Again, this one 907 horsepower. So it is much bigger, much faster. They call it a much more mature car with a performance level that was never possible before. It's in a totally different league, and they say it's even more enjoyable. The Temerario is the first Lamborghini supercar that has drift mode. If you push a button on the steering wheel, you activate its tail wagging system. Apparently, if you're riding on grippy sport tires, it can slide sideways like it's on ice. I don't know. It's a Yeah, it's a big deal. Everyone's looking at this new engine as to what hybrid engines might be able to do. It is the first and only production super sports car able to reach 10,000 rotations per minute. Usually that's only achieved in motorsports. Even the newest Ferrari, according to Popular Science, is behind that at 9,500 revolutions per minute. So they did it with this turbocharged engine that powers explosion at high revolutions. Um, yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's a really nice looking car. I have to say that. If I'm gonna have an HPEV, might as well go for the Lamborghini. I don't know. We'll switch gears to science now. And this, I don't think this comes as a surprise really to people, but there is a study, not published quite yet, I believe, that shows to keep our brains young might come down to things we can actually control, right? Things that we can do to make sure that we stay healthy. And that includes, of course, the old standbys: getting enough sleep, eating the right things, being healthy in the ways that we have been taught, or that we have, learned are the best ways to be healthy in other ways as well. But all of these things now are these lifestyle factors. Now it shows they're all within our control, and they're all powerful anti-aging tools as well. So these are things that should be easy for us to do, hopefully. One of the things is learning how to perceive stress differently. Poor sleep, very treatable. And optimism can be practiced. It might be challenging for some of us to practice optimism, but I think we can pull it off. I think we can. You're going to tell yourself, talk to yourself in those great big moments of stress. The findings on this study are published in the journal Brain Communications. The study authors used MRI-based estimates of brain age, and they found that people who kept a healthy lifestyle habit and got enough sleep included in that, were up to 8 years younger than expected. And it was true even for people that had chronic pain and other health issues. The researchers say the message is consistent across studies that health promoting behaviors are not only associated with lower pain and better physical functioning, they appear to actually improve health in an additive fashion at a meaningful level. They looked at 128 middle aged and older adults. Most of them did actually have chronic pain, a lot of knee osteoarthritis in the groups. Over 2 years, using machine learning tools like AI, they looked at MRI scans to compare each participant's estimated brain age with their actual chronological age. I can't speak today. The difference between the two, called a brain age gap, showed a measure of whole brain health. So they said hardships like chronic pain, limited education, lower income were associated with brains that appeared older. But those links decreased over time. But maintaining a healthy weight, getting good sleep, managing stress, avoiding tobacco, cultivating supportive relationships too, all were linked to a stronger, more enduring connection to younger appearing brains. And they said people with the highest number of those factors, those beneficial factors, began the study with brains that looked 8 years younger than they actually were. And during the 2 year follow up, their brains aged more slowly than the other people. The experts say that we've known for a long time that aging brains are more vulnerable to dementia, to Alzheimer's, and to other types of decline. That healthy habits, though, are likely to benefit aging in a wider range of people. They said for every additional healthy promoting factor, there is some evidence of neurobiological benefit, that these findings support the growing body of evidence that lifestyle is medicine. Lifestyle is medicine. Take it to heart and think about it the next time we're thinking about our lifestyle and our choices, right? If only I could practice what I preach over here. I'm working on it. To the lottery story, I mentioned earlier the Powerball is up to $1.6 billion for tonight's drawing. So that's pretty exciting. But I have a different lottery story today about a Maryland woman who walked up to the counter at the store in the market for some scratch off tickets, and they put a new roll in as she walks up. And so she says, I'm going to buy the first fresh 10 tickets off of that fresh unwrapped pack of scratch offs. And she did. This woman from Randallstown, Maryland, said her usual strategy is to buy tickets that are among the first 10 in a pack. So she decided to buy all 10 tickets from a new roll of Red Fives doubler tickets at the Pantry One grocery store in Randallstown. She took her tickets to the scanner and discovered one was a winner, but the scanner didn't tell her the amount. The winner handed her ticket to the store's clerk, who revealed it was a $100,000 prize. She said that money will allow her to comfortably retire and continue doing work for charity. So off she goes. Her lottery scheme worked for her, and she goes off into the wild blue yonder with an early retirement. So good. I have a butterfly story. I'm so fascinated by this. The scientists in this case, they looked at archives in a museum, and they realized in the archives that there were 9 new butterflies that had not been noted before. Pretty cool. And some of them are beautiful. They also managed to extract DNA from an old butterfly leg, which led them to even more interesting discoveries. The discovery happened here at London's Natural History Museum, where the scientists say 100-year-old butterflies are now speaking to them. by comparing modern DNA with ancient DNA from historical specimens that they can resolve long confused and unnoticed species and uncover greater biological diversity than previously known. This new research product at the London Natural History Museum allowed scientists to sort through members of a group of blue South American butterflies. They looked at more than 1,000 samples from collections around the world and discovered 9 previously unidentified butterfly species in the Therius genus. It's a beautiful winged butterfly found in the neotropics. The teams gave priorities to the Therius species at risk since South America's tropical forests are undergoing rapid deforestation. They also were able to take genetic material from a butterfly leg that's more than 100 years old. They used DNA sequencing techniques that are cutting edge, and that allowed them to study the tiny physical distinctions between butterflies that really, to the human eye, look so much alike that they thought they were the same species. But the genetic exam confirmed the differences were right there looking at them in the face. They looked at these neotropical butterflies called the Genena species group, and it was thought to have consisted of just 5 species of butterflies. But now they understand that there may be many more, that there are different relationships between the species that are targeted for conservation and potentially endangered butterfly species as well. Some of the habitats, though, of those old butterflies may not exist anymore. The Natural History Museum has 5 million butterfly specimens. That makes up 6% of the entire collection. Some of the specimens date back to the 1600s there. They call it an irreplaceable archive of life on our planet, which allows scientists and researchers to study species that may no longer exist or are still known to be at risk. Very cool what's happening there. Some of them look so much alike. It's crazy that they aren't, that they're different. How about the oldest restaurant in the world? You guess how old is the oldest restaurant in the world? I'll tell you that it's in Spain. It's pretty old. Not as old as I would have thought. I'm gonna go to the chat, see what you guys are saying. 650 years, says Be Aware. See, that's a pretty good guess. It's a lot less than that. 400 years, says Rev P. Again, good guess. The answer is 300 years old. Yep, Wes has it. It's a 300-year-old restaurant. It is in Spain. Here's what it looks like from the outside. The oldest restaurant in the world just turned 300. It is in Madrid. The name of the restaurant is Sobrino de Botín. It has really good food, apparently. And it has the old look inside, I will say. So there's the outside of it. And here's what it looks like as you head inside for a little lunch. Yeah, look, it's pretty believable to me that it's been around that long. This is an 18th century. Well, actually, let me start over. The Guinness Book of World Records, which we know well on this show, has confirmed Sobrino de Botín is the oldest restaurant in the world. It opened in 1725 in the heart of Madrid. They kept soldiers fed during the Spanish Civil War. The Smithsonian Magazine says they stoked the flames of their 300-year-old oven every day during the pandemic while the world was on lockdown. Usually people just call it Botín. They skip the Sobrina de Botín. So Botín is known for its slow-roasted suckling pig. Characters in one of Hemingway's books ordered that particular dish. He wrote about it. They say Casa Botín is all about traditional flavors, that they've lasted this long because they have great respect for authenticity. The third generation co-owner, Antonio Gonzalez, is saying that. And so the author of this article in Smithsonian heads to this restaurant to check it out, see what it's like. The first thing that they noticed was the brick facade. It's in a 4-story building that was originally a private home. This building dates back to 1590. And in the 18th century, there was a man named Candido Remis who took over the building and opened a tavern, who named it Sobrino de Botin, which is in English, nephew of Botin, or French chef Jean Botin, who was Remis's famous uncle by marriage, who worked on the court of the Habsburgs way back when. It was a house of food meant for weary merchants and their traders who were peddling their goods in the nearby plaza. There is a myth that people were worried that if taverns served food, men would never go home to their wives. So to eat at Casa de Comida, the house of food, travelers would bring their own ingredients and the tavern would prepare a meal for them with their own ingredients. Then in the 1800s, they started calling themselves a restaurant. They were copying the new style of dining in France, characterized by table service. That was something only the upper class people did back then. But they were making pastries and sweets, and they started then focusing on pigs and meat from the land. And this restaurant remained in Remis's family until 1930, when it was sold to the Gonzalez family. It's 300-year history and only 2 families owning this restaurant. That's pretty amazing. One of the balconies in this restaurant is broken because of shrapnel from the Spanish Civil War. It's really interesting. The dining room has exposed beams, ceramic tile, traditional handicrafts. There's a waiter who plays the Spanish violin. There's lots of suckling pigs in the kitchen. A musty wine cellar that makes you feel like you're walking through a time portal. Remnants of the old confectionery and the dining tables with white linen line either side of the cavernous brick-arched room. You can see it here. There's a secret passageway at the end of this room. And if you're brave enough to enter, you'll find bottles with black mold growing from the humidity. The tunnels provided easy access for merchants to bring in their goods, but also were able that served as an ability for people to get away if they were being chased by the government during the Inquisition, where people used to hide. Upstairs, might be seated at Hemingway's table. Royalty, political figures, celebrities, all in the guest book. So very interesting. There's a lot of art there as well, very old art in this restaurant. Much of the original menu still remains today. They say a lot of restaurants in Spain have started to modernize and innovate. There's a big movement in Spain toward fusion cuisine. But at Botin, they've taken the opposite approach. They're sticking with what they know has worked for them. And it still is working. So very cool to look at that, preserving the past. And they still use that 300-year-old oven in the kitchen. Really cool. All right, we'll move on from the oldest restaurant to this lemon-shaped planet with an atmosphere unlike that astronomers have ever seen before. There's never been anything like it. Well, there might be, but we haven't seen it before. We don't know about it. This weird looking planet, spotted by the James Webb Telescope, they detected an atmosphere rich with carbon and helium. It's unexpected on this hot planet, which is about 2,000 light years away from Earth. There's a new study on this planet published in the astrophysical journal Letters. And astronomers say, listen, we're open to the possibility that this is an entirely new type of object. An astrophysicist at the University of Chicago, study co author, part of the study, reporting that this exoplanet, first reported in 2017, closely orbits a pulsar, which is a rapidly spinning core of a dead star, shooting beams of electromagnetic radiation. There's a short distance of 1 million miles between these two bodies or things, allowing the pulsar's gravity to stretch its companion into a strange lemon shape. The Earth is 90 million miles from the Sun, for comparison. So this is 1 million miles between these two structures, the pulsar and this lemon shaped planet. Close enough that things are actually being funneled from the object to the pulsar. You have a tip like point where material actually comes out of the planet and spirals in. Researchers think the pulsar mostly releases gamma rays and other high energy particles. Using the James Webb Telescope, specialized for infrared light, they can't see that. They don't know. So interesting, though. They say it might sound like a problem, but this actually allows a view of the exoplanet lit up by the dead star without interference from a bright central object. There are not a lot of pulsars known to have companion objects in orbit. They said it's a really big surprise to see this. They were wondering after they got the data, what the heck is it? Finding carbon atoms stuck only to themselves or molecular carbon is unexpected on this world because of its sweltering temperature, this lemon planet, between 1200 degrees Fahrenheit and 3700 degrees Fahrenheit. Because at that heat level, carbon usually binds to other varieties of atoms in the atmosphere. In order to have a molecular carbon in the atmosphere, you have to get rid of pretty much everything else, all the oxygen, all the nitrogen. And they say they aren't sure how that's actually achieved. They don't know of any other planetary atmosphere that looks anything like this one. So that is the story of the lemon-shaped planet. They're interacting in some way. They'll still keep looking at it, try to figure out more. There is a statue in Egypt of Amenhotep III. Well, two statues really. At the entrance of his temple, Amenhotep III. They have been standing, these statues, at the entrance of Amenhotep III's temple for more than 3,000 years. And during that time, there's been a lot of damage. They're known as the Colossi of Memnon. They're both more than 40 feet tall. And finally, they have been reassembled because little chunks of them have been found all over this landscape, scattered around. More than 3,000 years ago, an earthquake toppled these two statues. And so, for decades now, restoration work has been going on. And once again, these two are standing at the entrance to Amenhotep III's funerary temple. The Egyptian Minister of Tourism and Antiquities said these works represent a major achievement in preserving and reviving one of the most important landmarks of the Egyptian civilization. They reaffirm Egypt's commitment to protecting its cultural and archaeological heritage according to the highest international standards. They've been working on this for quite a while. They said restoring the statues is part of an attempt to revive what this temple of King Amenhotep III looked like a long time ago. I have another picture of it. You can see, I mean, it's not perfect, but here they are, standing once again, all put back together. Here's all the people that did all that work. This is a big crew. Finding all the pieces, reassembling everything. Amenhotep came into power in 1390 BCE when he was 12 years old and ruled until 1353 BCE. About 150 years after his death, his temple was destroyed by an earthquake, and the ruins were gradually covered by silt from the Nile. The researchers started to reassemble these statues in the 1990s. So it's been a long time coming for this. They've been finding pieces of the colossi scattered about this site for years. They found granite blocks from the statue's bases at a nearby temple. In 2006, the researchers began cleaning, restoring, and scanning pieces from the statues before ultimately reassembling them in their original location. So they're more than 40 feet tall, the statues both depicting Amenhotep sitting with his hands on his thighs, wearing a Nemes headdress and a royal kilt. The head of the Egyptian Antiquities sector said at the ceremony, the statues also depict the ruler with ceremonial beards. Carved beside the pharaoh's feet are small reliefs with an S depicting other figurines such as his wife, Tai, and the stone throws are decorated with scenes depicting the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt. So, I mean, it's amazing that they could put this back together so well. I have another picture. Imagine this statue, 40 feet tall, and in chunks all over the place, right? With even its base somewhere else. And they managed to put it back together in such a fashion. Here's a close-up of one of them. And I think it looks pretty good. I don't know. After all that damage, what a celebration. Very cool. Yeah, amazing, says Jan Morgan. They clean bathrooms. I don't know. I think that was about the restaurant. Nito Candido, I've heard of him. Says be aware. Humu style pig buried in the sand. So good. Talking about Hawaii. All right. Let's go to the next one. I have another story for you. And this is a story I think we all know that hugs make us feel good, right? Make us feel a little happier, get the love hormone going. Well, they did a study about why warm hugs make us feel so nice. And I think it's something that they shouldn't have studied because we already know the answer. Thermoception, the ability to detect hot and cold, helps us avoid burns and, being frozen in the snow. Apparently, also provides us pleasure. Warmth, according to scientists, is one of the earliest signals of protection. We feel it in the womb, in early caregiving, and whenever someone holds us close. This is from Dr. Laura Crucianelli, who's the co-author of a new study and a lecturer in psychology at the Queen Mary University of London. She says it keeps us alive, but it also helps us feel like ourselves. So she looked at how the brain interprets warmth and cold, and in that started looking at how the body shapes the mind. And in this story, I think I need to have a picture of a hug because, when you see the hug, you kind of feel the hug, right? It turns out that warm hugs have a lot of power. They make us feel good at a level that goes way beyond the skin. When we hug, the combination of tactile and thermal signals increases in our sense of body ownership, so we're more connected to our embodied sense of self. that feeling warm touch on the skin enhances our ability to sense ourselves from the inside and recognize our own existence. So we're telling ourselves, this is my body and I am grounded in it. All right. The warm touch engages specialized nerve fibers in the skin called C-tactile afferents, linked via thermosensitive pathways back to the insular cortex of the brain. And when those pathways are activated, it triggers the release of oxytocin, the love hormone. So it's that coupled with reductions in physiological stress that supports enhanced bodily awareness and feelings of well-being. They looked at decades worth of research papers in psychology, neuroscience, and clinical science to come to the conclusion that thermoception is historically overlooked as a pathway by which the body communicates with the brain. That changes in bodily awareness are a hallmark to a number of conditions like eating disorders, depression, and this gives this research much wider relevance. They said we know from experimental studies that thermal signals play a fundamental role in clinical conditions. People with altered temperature regulation and thermal perception due to brain stroke may develop pathological conditions according to which they do not recognize a part of their bodies as belonging to themselves. This is all an indicator that you need to squeeze in more hugs into your day. Go find a loved one, get a little hug. I'm giving you a big hug right now. Can't feel the warmth, but this researchers say warm touch reminds us we're connected, valued, and a part of a social world. Humans are wired for social closeness, and hugs briefly dissolve the boundary between self and other. So go out and get a hug. It's good for you, depending on who's giving it to you. Get a hug from good people. All right. I'm taking you to a cave because it is Hide in Your Cave Monday. Here it is. I have the slide, so it must be true. And these are some of the coolest caves in Argentina. One of them we've seen before because it makes the list of the coolest caves in the world. You remember the Marble Cave? It's so beautiful. I have a picture of the Marble Cave. It's talk about otherworldly. Here it is. Check that out. This is the Marble Cave. It is actually in Chile, in the far south of the Chilean Patagonia, where the turquoise waters of General Carrera Lake conceal one of the most interesting natural cathedrals on Earth. The Marble Caves, formed more than 6,200 years ago, with swirling blue and white tunnels carved by glacier meltwater. They slowly sculpted the marble bedrock into hypnotic curves. What it looks like. Because of this, the light here doesn't behave like it should. The light bounces and ripples and paints the ceiling in shades of blue. Well, the locals used to say the water spirits of the Andes carved the caves themselves. They believed the spirits hid their treasure inside the marble so no mortal hand could touch them. Really, scientists say it's a slow geological dance, calcium carbonate dissolving and reforming with every wave. When you float inside, you start thinking about the myth and the legend, not the science. Because how beautiful is that? I don't know if you've seen one of the oldest art galleries on Earth. This is a cave. In English, you would call it Cave of the Hands. But in Spanish, Cueva de las Manos. It is a complex, a cave and a complex of rock art sites in the province of Santa Cruz, Argentina. And boy, is it something. to see these hands from the past is unbelievable. I have a picture to show you. Just imagine the people who put their hands on the cave and made these images. Look at that. That's inside the cave. It is in the dusty canyons of Patagonia's Santa Cruz province, called one of the oldest art galleries on Earth. The Cave of Hands, with its walls covered with hundreds of stenciled hands painted in red, black, and white pigments. It's between 9,000 and 13,000 years old. Not the cave, the stencils, the hands. Most of the handprints are left hands, which means the artist probably sprayed the paint through hollow bones, leaving behind the silhouettes of the hands. Archaeologists think the paintings mark the hunting rituals or rites of passage. The indigenous Tehuelche people say that story is deeper. They say the hands belong to their ancestors, the first dreamers who reached the spirit world to bless the living. How cool is that? Let's check this one out. This is in Brazil. It's a sinkhole that leads to this incredible underworld that is, it's hard to fathom that this is a real place on Earth. It's called Gruta do Lago Azul. It's in the Brazilian region of Bonito. Gruta do Lago Azul, also called the Blue Lake Cave. Incredibly beautiful. I have a picture to show you of it because you have to see it with me. If you're listening on the podcast, you got to go check it out on YouTube. Here it is. This is what this place looks like. You imagine? I mean, it really is like you're in a whole nother universe. Look at that. Just gorgeous. It is a color so vivid that it looks fake. Rich electric blue that changes shade depending on the hour and the angle of sunlight coming in through the opening of the cave. When there were some divers that explored this lake in the 1990s. They found fossilized bones of prehistoric animals, saber-toothed tigers, giant ground sloths, ancient tapirs. The remains were lying undisturbed at the bottom, and nobody knows how they got there. There is a local legend from the Guarani. They say the lake marks the resting place of a celestial serpent, and when it is angered, it rises from the water and brings floods upon the land. And even today, people still whisper before entering out of respect, for they say, whatever watches from the blue. Boy, is it pretty, though. We're going back to Chile for this cavern named after an enormous ground sloth, Mylodon darwini, whose remains were found in this cave back in the 1800s. It is quite a place. I would say not quite as perhaps dramatic as the other ones, but still pretty cool. I have a picture of this one too. Easy to see why or how creatures would get into this with such a large opening. All right, here's a picture of this cueva or cave. Cueva de Milodon is the name of this cave. And it is a big cavern, big opening. You can see where the opening is off to the left there. This one is not far from Puerto Natales, Chile. It is a gaping cavern, Cueva de Milodon, named after an enormous ground sloth. The remains of that sloth found in the cave in 1895. The animal was over 3 meters tall, covered in thick fur, headed across the ice. Early explorers found chunks of preserved hide and bones inside the cave. The remains so fresh looking, they thought that creature might still be alive somewhere out there. That's Cueva de Milodon in Chile. There is a limestone cave in Peru. It is high up in the Andes. It is one of the eeriest caves. It's called Huaguapo Cave. The locals call it La Cueva que Llora, the cave that cries. It's a constant drip of water that echoes through the chambers of this cave. And so it's noisy. No wonder they say it's the cave that cries. And it's kind of, I want to say, a little creepy as well. It depends on what picture you look at of it. But here's what Hogwapo Cave looks like uh, deep inside the cave. Here's a picture of it. The Hogwapo Cave, or the cave that cries. Sorry for you can see the watermarks there. I can get a better picture. Looks like they all have watermarks. I don't know if I'd go into this one. And there is, looks like a barrier, so most people can't go in. But even if you stand outside, you can hear what it sounds like from the outside. Here's a different picture. You can see all the people standing at the edge of this cave, peering in. If I heard the noise, I don't think even if you could walk into this cave, I don't think I'd be going in there. So interesting. So this is a cave deep in Sao Paulo state. It's actually the Huaguapo cave. It's high in the Andes near Peru. It's a limestone cave. It stretches nearly 2 kilometers underground, one of the deepest in South America. And they say it's one of the eeriest as well. The cave that cries. Inside of this cave, archaeologists have found ancient Incan pottery, burial sites, and hidden altars, suggesting it was once a sacred site. Legends say that a young Incan princess fled Spanish invaders and disappeared into this cave, vowing never to leave. And the dripping, they say, is her eternal mourning. Huaguapo Cave, that one's in Peru. This one is in Brazil. This one is near Sao Paulo. It's called Caverna do Diabo, or the Devil's Cave. Okay, with a name like that, I don't know if I'm going into this one either. But it is really beautiful. Really beautiful. I have to show you. Here's the picture of it. And they have all kinds of different lights in this cave, which, I don't know, just make it look really cool. But here's a picture of the Devil's Cave in Sao Paulo. There it is. There are other pictures where it's lit up in blue and easier to get to. You can see the staircase going down. Look at all the different formations inside of this cave. It's really, really cool. So this one, you'll see the towering stalagmites, some of them over 20 meters tall. They illuminate them by faint golden lights. The indigenous people here, the Tupi-Guarani, once believed this cave was the entrance to the underworld. They thought it was the home to spirits that tempted humans into greed. Early Christian missionaries later called it the Devil's Cave, and that name stuck. It is sacred, actually, to the people there. The cave's natural acoustics create a deep, resonant hum. Many visitors describe the experience as strangely calming, like the earth itself is breathing around you. Okay, that's cool. The next one is called Cueva de los Tallos, and this is a cave in Ecuador. It is deep in the Amazon rainforest, a labyrinth cave network. It is quite a mystery in South America, this cave. It is, the name Cueva de los Tallos means cave of the oil birds, because there's these strange nocturnal creatures that live inside that navigate by sound rather than sight, kind of like bats. There was an adventurer in the 70s that claimed he found a metal library deep within the cave and that there were plates engraved with ancient symbols that were supposedly proof of some lost civilization. He convinced the astronaut Neil Armstrong to join an expedition in the 70s where they didn't find any archives like that, but they did find a precision of cut tunnels and polished stone surfaces that did look unnaturally geometric. So that's kind of interesting. I have a picture of this one as well. It's cool. Maybe not as mysterious as advertised, but still interesting. The cuts of the caves and the way the rocks have worn. An interesting look. Cueva de los Tallos, Cave of the Oil Birds. And here's a look at it. I'm sorry, I'm behind in putting pictures up. That is rather geometric looking, although I wouldn't necessarily say that proves some lost ancient civilization did it. I don't know. The next cave is in Colombia. It is within Colombia's oldest national park, named after the same mysterious oil birds found in Ecuador, Cueva de los Guacharos in Colombia. It is a massive limestone cathedral filled with these really cool rock formations during the day. But at night, it comes alive with sound because there are thousands of these birds that cry and their sound reverberates off the walls. They say it's like an ancient choir. So interesting. Here is a picture of Cueva de los Huarachos. It's beautiful, lush greenery on the outside, and the minute you get in the cave, it looks like you're in the land of the lost. Here's a picture of Cueva de los Guacharos. There's the name of it, Guacharos. I have a picture of this. Sorry, my pictures are not catching up, but it's very cool. Imagine standing in there and all the sounds you would be able to hear. The indigenous people believed the birds were the souls of warriors, cursed to wander the darkness until they redeemed themselves. The Spanish, when they got there, were freaked out by the wailing sounds. They thought they were hearing the voices of the damned. This, though, according to scientists of today, is a biodiversity hotspot. The ecosystem sustained entirely by guano, the bird droppings, that nourishes a hidden world of insects, fungus, and blind creatures that never ever see the daylight. So there you go. The Cueva de los Guacharos in Colombia. We had the Cueva de los Tallos in Ecuador. Here's that one. And we had the Caverna do Diablo, or it's Diabo. They didn't put the L in. This is in Brazil, the Devil's Cave. Super creepy. Here's that one. Here's the Huaguapo Cave. And that one is in Peru. Cueva de Milodon, with the giant sloth found in Chile. There's that one. And the next one is Gruta do Lago Azul. Oh, this is a pretty one, isn't it? With the blue waters and the ancient fossils found at the bottom. And then you have the Cueva de las Manos in Argentina with all the hand stencils. And then lastly, in Chile, the marble caves. Now, I don't know if you have a favorite. I have to go marble, Lago de Gruta, or hand cave. I don't know which one. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm going to the go into the chat and see what you guys think. I don't want to go. No, if I want to go into a cave made of bird poop, says Vanessa Pacheco. Yeah, I get you. I hear you. I might not want to go in there either. That's hide in your cave Monday. The hands. Gordon likes the hands. Yeah. Oh no. Looks like everyone's not feeling very well. Yikes. All right. Well, I hope you guys feel better. Devil's Cave, of course, Christians involved, says Rhonda. Yes. I will be here tomorrow as well, and we will be taking a little trip tomorrow, and also might do some trivia tomorrow. Wednesday, Tim Sika will be on the After Party Live, and we'll make up for what we missed on Friday and possibly some other movies that are coming up for the holiday weekend. And then on the Mark Thompson Show tomorrow, J.L. Covan will be here, David K. Johnston will be here, Jefferson Graham. So it's going to be a great day on the Mark Thompson Show as well. I do want to thank the people that have contributed to this show and keep it alive and kicking. Thank you so much, Wes, for another contribution to the After Party Live today. Merry Christmas to you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Also, we have contributions from Vicky S., Alicia P., and Amy P., who set up recurring payments on the PayPal, the show PayPal account. You'll find that in the show description and every single day, and in the show description here on YouTube up above. Please click the like button and please subscribe if you can. I will be back with you tomorrow. Oh, and I do want to note that tomorrow also at 5 p.m. is the Nikki Maduro Show. So that is 5 p.m., the Nikki Maduro Show tomorrow, Tuesday, with cocktails, mocktails, and politics. Until we meet again, bye-bye.
The After Party Live would like to thank the following contributors and viewers like you.